All right, everybody, how's it going? You are now listening to Uncontested with Rob, Mania, and the new addition to the show this year, which will be Trevor Kinney. You guys know him. It's probably Trevor Kinney on YouTube chat and everything. What's up, man? How's it going today? It looks like Trey's not quite ready, or is he here now?
I'm not sure where he is.
He disappears at times, so it's just some random. It's fine. He'll eventually pop back in here in a second. I think he thinks he had longer. But yeah, so that was the intro music that plays right before it. I let that play for, about like 50 seconds, and then we get going. So today we have a pretty good show. Trey, you have yourself muted, or no one can hear you. Why is he muted? He'll get it figured out. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. So what we're gonna talk about today is we're finally back. We're finally back doing our show, our fun little experiment here, where we pretty much are just ripping off any kind of idea of Undisputed, because it gets lots of views, and you never know, you might pop up in the same kind of search feeds with it. So here's our chances of ripping on it. We're gonna go with a kind of like an award focused based show today, where we're gonna talk about the NFL MVP, who we think might win the NFL MVP, our picks for a rookie of the year. We're not gonna do both sides of the ball here tonight. We're just gonna choose one side, who we think is the most likely candidate to win a rookie of the year, who we think is the most relevant rookie of this rookie class, if you will. I would imagine it's going to be a lot of Kyler Murray, probably, and a lot of Nick Bosa from a lot of us tonight here on that one. That's pretty much it's like, well, God, duh, who's the most obvious rookie for this class? And then we'll do Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Those are both pretty. Defensive Player of the Year is up for debate, unless you kind of look at statistics. It's really not. And then we'll talk about who we think will be playing against each other in the Super Bowl. And then we'll go ahead and talk about Mr. Helmet Smashy himself, Myles Garrett, and the stupid incident that happened on Thursday Night Football. Probably the most entertaining Thursday Night Football game in NFL history. It only took like 8 seconds, really. That's all it took. 8 seconds, and it's the greatest Thursday night game in NFL history. I don't know what you guys think about that, but we're not going to start with that.
Nice.
It was good.
It was good.
I think Pouncey should appeal, but all right, Trey. Oh shit.
All right.
Hold on a second.
What?
You want to get started on the NFL MVP talk?
Yeah, I'll start on the NFL MVP talk. All right. So when it comes to the MVP,
okay, go ahead.
All right. So when it comes to the MVP, there's really only two choices. There's no one other than the number one and number two.
He's
number
gonna
three.
Pull a Skip Bayless and be like, Deshaun Watson is the clear.
Nah. Nah, I ain't gonna be like that. But I am gonna use Deshaun Watson, who is number three, to show how far ahead number one and number two are.
He's pulling a Skip Bayless right now. That's what he's like. Yeah, it's not my guy, but my guy's third or like fourth.
Alright, so right now I see a lot of people having Russell Wilson up in front. But for me, at the end of the day, I think Lamar Jackson is going to come and take it from Russell Wilson. I think he's going to build his stats up and end up going. Part of the reason is he led his team. Lamar Jackson led his team to beating the Patriots. Yes, Russell Wilson went and defeated the 49ers, both undefeated teams. But I see the same energy, but I see beating the Patriots as a bit of a higher accomplishment. Part of it, yes, a little bit of bias, but at the same time, the way I've been looking at the teams and ranking them, the Patriots have been the clear best team in the NFL. 49ers have been good, but they haven't at all passed the Patriots in being the number one spot. They haven't held that number one spot at all year. So beating the Patriots, who were in the number one spot, and even though the Patriots lost, are still in the number one spot, that's a bigger accomplishment than beating than the 49ers.
Well,
and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, the Ravens were at home, but I mean, that's kind of it's like well, it's not like the 49ers have this great home advantage anymore.
And so, yeah. But the reason why a lot of people have Russell Wilson up in front is, first, Russell Wilson has 2,993 yards, while Jackson has 2,738. Wilson, 26 touchdowns. Jackson, 21. Wilson, only 7 interceptions and fumbles together. Lamar Jackson, 9 interceptions and fumbles. Okay? So they have Russell Wilson up in front, but Lamar Jackson does have one thing over Wilson right now, and that's rushing yards. He's a great dual threat quarterback with 702 rushing yards versus Wilson's 256. So Jackson, I think, eventually, as the year goes on, there's still a lot of game left. He can still catch up to Russell Wilson with the yards, touchdowns, and everything else. And I believe he's going to pass Wilson. I think he's going to pass Wilson. He's going to end up with better stats at the end of the year. And I think he's going to... I'm predicting he's going to pass Russell Wilson. He's going to get the MVP. And again, to show how far ahead, Deshaun Watson is third in the MVP race. Jackson with 2,700. That's a 200-yard difference between them two. Jackson to Watson, 2,400 yards. There's a bigger disparity between Jackson and Watson than Wilson and Jackson. Watson, while he's sitting at 3, he's not going to go into the MVP. He's too far behind. Only 18 touchdowns and 11 interceptions and fumbles.
Ooh.
But the thing is, Wilson, Deshaun Watson does have more rushing yards than Russell Wilson. But again, the other stats, he's nowhere near being close enough. That's why there's only 2 candidates, and I think Lamar Jackson, he's going to go further into the playoffs than he's going to take his team further into the playoffs than the Seahawks are going to go. And he's going to get the better stats at the end of the year. And so Lamar Jackson, at the end, he's going to end up with the team with a better record, just a better sending the team further into the playoffs. And at the end of the year, he will have the better stats. So Lamar Jackson, even though he's behind right now, he's going to catch up and he's going to pass Wilson and get the MVP.
Okay, I guess that's a fair way to look at it. All right, Trevor, do you want to go with your pick?
Yeah. So my pick's Russell Wilson. It's very simple for me. If you're going by the nature of the word, the namesake, if you will, then Russell Wilson is easily the most valuable, because the Seahawks team 3-4 wins maybe without him right now, because they've got some wide receiver talent, and Clowney's been playing out of his mind lately, but that team it's not a well-rounded team. And I completely agree with Trey when he says that the Ravens will go farther in the playoffs than the Seahawks will, but I don't think that's something that you can slight Russell Wilson for, because he is absolutely carrying that team. That team is more likely than not going to have a top 10 draft pick if you take him off that team.
Agree on that.
Yeah, he's a workhorse for that team. He does everything for him.
He's arguably one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL, but consistently underrated.
Yeah,
criminally underrated. Actually, there's no reason the Seahawks paid him that. The Seahawks gave him $140 million, didn't even bat an eyelash. He's like, pay me by April 15th or else. And they went, what's April 15th got to do with anything? And they literally he went, nothing. That's just when I want my money. And they went, here you go, Russell. It was just a self-imposed deadline, and they caved.
Yeah, and
well, if you could say that about you could possibly say that about the Ravens as well. With Lamar Jackson, can you honestly say the Ravens wouldn't be as good without Lamar Jackson? The Ravens could possibly have a losing record.
It's arguable you could plug in a quarterback who plays just like Lamar and have the same success, if not better.
Yeah, so here's my thing. Lamar, their coaches are two opposite ends of the spectrum. And then, listen, I don't want to take away from Lamar, but I want to put it into context. Because I'm a huge Lamar fan, because I'm a Louisville fan, so I absolutely loved him in college. But I think it's important to put the coaching between these two into context, because on one hand, Russell Wilson has a coach that's crippling him. Pete Carroll insists on running the ball 40 times a game and giving Russell Wilson like 30 pass attempts, which just isn't something that a top 3 quarterback should have in the NFL in 2019. There's absolutely no reason for it. And it was extremely evident in the San Francisco game that on that second to last drive, that they just insist on running the ball. They didn't want to give it to Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it's sort of strained with Pete, isn't it?
Yeah, and on the 4th and 2 at midfield, they punt it. Pete Carroll's playing for the tie. He's not going to give it into his amazing quarterback's hands at midfield with 2 yards to go trying to win the game. He wants to play for the tie. And then on the other hand, you have Jim Harbaugh, who's one of the most advanced coaches in the league. He's probably the most advanced when it comes to analytics. I don't know if he's got someone in his ear or if he's got a chart or something, but
I think he's just hyper intelligent. Yeah. I think that's his thing. Like he's just like he's a statistician, and he's just like, I also play I'm a wide receiver. I think he was a kicker when he played, but
yeah, he has it on point with these situational decisions, going for it when it benefits them, punting it when it doesn't. And there's only a few coaches in the league that can say that. And John Harbaugh's at the very top of the class when it comes to decision making. When it comes to third and fourth downs. Yeah. And this season he's been absolutely amazing at it, and Pete Carroll has been absolutely horrible. So I don't want to act like that's the main point, but it's definitely something that needs to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, and I think writers take in those kinds of things, like what kind of talent you have around you, which I would have to argue Lamar has unfucking believable talent around him.
Lamar's line has been the second best pass blocking line in the league this year.
Well, and he just can flick the ball to Andrews, who's just going to somehow catch it, who's got a better catch radius than, I swear to God, in Calvin Johnson.
And one thing you really have to give the Ravens organization props for, they have
built
put
a team.
As much as you can in a year and a half since they've drafted Jackson, they put the most perfect team that they could in that time span out there for him. Everyone on that team and the scheme completely fits him perfectly.
They basically went, hey, Ozzie Newsome just went, this Lamar thing's going to work. We're going to force it. And that's basically what happened.
Yeah, so I would say he can still improve because he's, 23 years old? But for what Lamar is right now as an NFL player, I think he's operating at like 95% efficiency.
And we've seen this before. Let's be totally honest. We've seen this exact start to a career before. Down to the yards per carry are the same as another quarterback. The completion percentage is like 3.3% higher in Lamar's favor. The yards are like the same. The touchdowns are the same. The interceptions are the same. Oh, he's got a tryout this weekend.
That's who I thought.
It's literally the same fucking numbers. It's the same quarterback. And I'm wondering, is the league going to figure out Lamar the way they keyed in on Colin? It took a few years, if you remember. Nobody could figure out Colin. Then somebody smoked his ass, and then the rest of the league went, "Oh, okay, that's how you beat him."
And the one thing I'll give Lamar, he has a much
higher ceiling. He has a way high. He could be Vic. He's Vic-esque.
Lamar came into the league as he wasn't a good passer coming into the league, but he was a far better passer than Cap. Cap was a horrible passer.
He really can't throw it. He's probably going to be a lot better throwing the ball now, ironically.
Yeah. Yeah, but I didn't want to bring it up, but since you mentioned it, a couple days ago, I just checked, and Colin Kaepernick and Lamar Jackson, if you compare their first 16 games, Cap had higher yards per carry, and he had a better touchdown rate per carry.
Yeah, and Lamar, the reason Lamar has 1,300 rushing yards is because he's rushed the ball 300 goddamn times.
Yeah, and
Colin carried it 95 times and had 600 yards. It's like, can we pay attention to that statistic? Like how mind-bending that is? If you give him 300 carries, that's 2,000 rushing yards almost.
Yeah, and I'm not saying at all that Lamar is going to be Cap. Lamar is so much more talented than Kaepernick.
Yeah, it's not even
already, and he has a much better.
The progression from year to year was mind-bending. From his ability last year to this year, he could win Most Improved Player. I don't even know if that's a thing in the NFL.
It is not, but I wish they would have that award so bad.
Because that would go to Lamar Jackson. Like that would be like, it'd be like, well, this is his award, right? Like it's But like I guess, I'm obviously I'm leaning towards Russell Wilson.
But wow. Okay.
What's up, Trey? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So getting back into my thing, Lamar's not number 2. Deshaun Watson's number 2 for me. And
Whoa!
It's for the same reason. Deshaun Watson is his team. The Texans do not have... They have a decent rushing defense, but their pass defense is bottom 5 in the league.
Our rushing defense has taken a lot of hits this year. I wouldn't say we have a... we had a struggling rushing defense, but it was held down by J.J. Watt. Now he's gone.
And that's the case for Deshaun. By saying this, I'm not trying to take a shot at your team. I'm not saying, the Texans' defense sucks. I'm saying Deshaun Watson is carrying this team because he is so good, and he really doesn't have all that much around him.
He's the Michael Jordan of football.
Deshaun Watson is extremely comparable to Russell Wilson, in my opinion.
He has so many highlight plays. When he got hit in the face.
Yeah, the only thing that either Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson have around them is receivers. Both have below average offensive lines, and they both have a couple really good receivers. They don't have a defense. Their running backs are okay, and they have coaches that don't help them. Russell Wilson's coach actively hurts him. Deshaun Watson's just is kind of there, but neither of their coaches help them the way Lamar's does. And Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman deserve extreme props for what they've done with Jackson, which is why I think he's not up there. So between 3 and 4, I think Pat Mahomes and Lamar are basically tied for the 3 spot right now. Because even if you look at Pat Mahomes' stats, his stats are literally better than everyone's. In terms of volume, his stats are better than everyone's right now, except Russell Wilson and the only thing he's worse than is Russell Wilson in touchdown passes. In less games, Patrick Mahomes is better than every other quarterback in this discussion, apart from Lamar's rushing and Russell Wilson's touchdown passes. He's better.
How long do you think it's going to take till Mahomes is leading this goddamn discussion again? 3 games? 2 games?
Mahomes has missed 2 games, and he's second in the league in passing yards, I think.
Do you know how weird it's going to look if they end up going undefeated the rest of the season if the Chiefs do?
Yeah, his yards
Mahomes
per
will win MVP.
His yards per attempt is 9. 8 yards per attempt is elite level. He's at 9.
9 is silly. Lamar's averaging 4 yards a throw.
Yeah.
That's Lamar's air yards, by the way. He's averaging 4.5 air yards per attempt. He's dinking the ball to fucking Hollywood Brown. And Hollywood Brown is taking the fuck off. That's one of the reasons why I don't think Lamar's going to win it. Because he's a dink and dunk quarterback in a really high-flying system.
Yeah.
Plus he's kind of fucked by his. Oh, are you? You still good? Are you good?
Yeah. I just got one more thing.
Okay.
Those are my 4. I got Russell Wilson, gap, Deshaun Watson, smaller gap, and then Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Basically,
Then Brady. Gotcha. Then Brady at 4.
No, Brady. Hold on. Brady, while he has been a great quarterback, he is not the best player on his team right now. He's got a great team around him. He is not.
Name 2 players on the offense worth a fuck other than Tom Brady. I'll wait.
Literally all of them.
Thuney.
Who?
Joe Thuney is a great offensive lineman.
Yeah, that offensive line is garbage.
I'm not disputing your point. I'm just saying Joe Thuney deserves some respect.
Okay, sure. Okay, yeah, we can go there. But I like how Trey shut up and he went, I don't know any of the players on the offense. What the fuck? Yeah, because they got no receiver. The only receiver they got is Mohamed Sanu, and he's been there for a week.
Well, they got Edelman, but
Edelman's 34 years old.
Edelman is a better version of Jarvis Landry with run after catch potential.
Yeah, he's just hard to tackle because he's 5'3" and fucking punches people in the dick. I think when he's getting tackled, he Mason Rudolphs everybody.
All right, yeah, so that's all I got on it. Apart from that, running back shouldn't be in the discussion.
Yeah, no, I don't think Christian McCaffrey. No. Actually, I have McCaffrey as my. You guys will like my top 3. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah, I want to hear yours.
All right, so clearly I have Russell Wilson winning the award. I don't have Lamar in the top discussion simply because I think they're going to look at the strength of their schedule and the fact that they played, teams like the Dolphins, the Cardinals, the Browns twice, the Bengals twice, the Steelers twice. They get to play
destroyed the Patriots winning streak, undefeated record.
One thing on that, the Patriots have bad losses every year. I don't want to take away from what the Ravens did to them, but last year they got
27 is the worst we're gonna lose this year. That's a good year for us.
Last year the Titans absolutely decimated the Patriots.
We
and they
lost 37
to
0 to the Titans, and then the week before we lost to the Titans like that, we lost to the Lions 31-10, and then the very next week we lost to the Titans, and the Jaguars blew us out, and then we won every game from there on out. It was quite...
Yeah. Losing big in the middle of the regular season isn't uncommon for the Patriots.
Bill Belichick has openly stated he doesn't give a shit about the regular season until after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and Bill Belichick, he definitely didn't throw the game, but there's no way you can believe that he put out his best game plan to stop Lamar. He's saving that for January.
But so the way I look at the way the MVP goes, they do take into consideration how the season ends and the teams you're playing as the season ends. The Ravens draw a very fortunate end of their season, right? They play the Bills, the Jets, the Browns, and the Steelers. Those are their last 4 games, and they have the Texans, Rams, and 49ers. Kind of tough games, but I mean... But if you go to the Seahawks, they have to play the Eagles, Vikings, Rams, Panthers, Cardinals, and 49ers. Who do you think is going to get more favored from the MVP if either one of those two say they have the same exact win-loss down the road, right? Because they have the same record right now. Both teams are 2-loss teams. Both are 7-2, 8-2, or whatever. I think Baltimore hasn't had their bye yet for whatever reason.
The Ravens are 7-2.
Okay, so they both got the same record. So you got to consider they'll probably finish with roughly the same record this year. Probably gonna have roughly the same statistics, but like I said, it's gonna mean a little less from the Ravens when you consider that they've played a very, very easy schedule compared to what the Seahawks have already played. They've had to play the Rams, the 49ers. They've had to play the Ravens. Just being an asshole.
And the Ravens 4 opponents to the end, Lamar's worst game came against the Browns. and the Bills and Steelers both have really good defenses. So if you have 3 of those 4 games in the last 4, that could put a sour taste in voters' mouths. If Lamar
if he plays bad,
isn't performing great, like even if he has average games and still finishes with great stats on the season, if he has a subpar or average end to the season, statistically, that could kill his chances.
And I could see Russell Wilson clean sweeping the end of this season here.
Yeah.
He'll beat the Rams he'll beat the Rams. I'm not even worried about that one. The Panthers, he'll probably beat them. He'll destroy the Cardinals again at home. And then the 49ers is the question mark. That could be the thing that really fucks him up. So right now I would say that for me it's Wilson, because we've already gone over all the statistics. His advanced passing is just it's incredible this year. 7 point air yards per completion is 7.2. Air yards per attempt is 5.0. Average depth of target's 9 yards. You know, so he's throwing the ball down the field. He's trying to get first downs. He's I don't know. It's just he's throwing the ball like perfectly. The 2 picks. Yeah, Russell Wilson has 2 interceptions and 23 touchdown passes. Out of nowhere, he's having a. This is a guy that people said couldn't throw the ball. He's throwing at a nearly 70% completion percentage. So he's hyper efficient with it. 114. He's almost got a perfect 114.9 QBR. So, well, they don't have his QBR calculated yet, but the rating anyway. That's
Russell Wilson's stat line this year is a lot like prime Aaron Rodgers, but more aggressive and with less attempts.
Yeah, because he just doesn't. Man, these are just some crazy. He's already got he's got 5 game-winning drives this year and 4 fourth-quarter comebacks. Whereas Lamar, see, that's going to be a big thing too, because he's going to have more of those. Lamar has exactly. Where's where the hell is it? Has he really done 0? Yeah, 0.
Yeah.
We haven't had to see Lamar be the reason they win a game yet. That's another thing. Fucking Russell Wilson's won 5 games. He's literally been like, all right, we're gonna have to fucking pull this one out of our asshole a few times. It looks like they had to do it against the Bengals, against the Seahawks, against the Rams, against the Browns, against the Falcons probably, it looks like, against the Buccaneers in overtime, against the Seahawks in overtime, or the 49ers in overtime. It's just constant big moment, deliver, overperform with what you got, When your best receiver is a virgin, it's not exactly like you have a lot going on in Seattle. And well, now you got Josh Gordon, but you didn't have him for most of it. Ooh.
And I don't think that you can knock Lamar for that, because he really hasn't had many opportunities to do that. But it definitely gives Russell Wilson an advantage in that category, because it's going to show that he has excelled at doing that, and it's going to give him a lot more opportunities for those MVP moments that people look for.
But yeah, so I think we've beaten this topic to death. I guess I'll give my other 2, which are kind of humorous. I would have McCaffrey at 2 right now, simply just because he really is the offense of the Panthers. He's having an incredible year, but running backs don't win the award. And I would argue that a defensive player could be in the conversation for MVP, but you guys probably wouldn't let me do this. So I'm probably going to hold off to this because it's my defensive player of the year pick. But it may or may not be Stephon Gilmore.
Okay, if it's Stephon Gilmore, I won't agree. I was going to say I'm partially in agreement with you,
but I think Stephon Gilmore could and should be the MVP. If the Patriots go like 15-1 and Brady's not the reason, you could argue that Gilmore could be an MVP candidate, because he's clearly the defensive player of the year candidate right now. I think he's right now, if you were to bet, he's leading stat getter, and once I go over the stats for him, we're gonna save that.
I'm
start to
gonna-
understand.
I'm going to hold off on that right now.
It's unrealistic how good Stephon Gilmore has been playing this year.
I'm going to let you know that we're going to butt heads a little bit once we get there.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna try to keep this short here because we're already at 30 minutes for.
Yeah.
So basically, I agree. It's probably gonna be Wilson, and then I would have my other two. If MVP was a fair award and it was actually what it stood for, which it's not what it stood for, I would have a very radically different. It would be like Russell Wilson, McCaffrey, Stephon Gilmore, and then you could argue Stafford would be in there, but the Lions' record is trash, so he can't be in there.
Oh yeah, I had a couple notes. I said Matthew Stafford. If Matthew
would win the
Stafford
award, if they made the playoffs, he would win the award outright.
If he wasn't missing games, he would absolutely be in there right now because he's playing at MVP level.
He had 20 touchdowns before he got hurt.
Yeah, and if we're talking about non-quarterbacks, Michael Thomas deserves a little bit of a mention too. Michael Thomas is one of my least favorite players in the league, but he's been outstanding this year.
Yeah, but all right. Any other things you want to add, Trey? Or should we move on to the next?
We just move on to the next one. I don't have anything else to add. I got my top 30. Everyone got their top 3s.
Okay, so all right, that was our MVP talk. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next part of the conversation, which is going to be our Rookie of the Year talk, where we're just gonna give one rookie pick that we think is kind of a standout, kind of a big deal rookie this season, kind of the Rookie of the Year. Last year, you could argue it was Darius Leonard. You could argue it was Saquon Barkley. You could argue it was Baker Mayfield. You could make the argument for any one of the three. But so I guess you could go ahead and give your pick on who you think it's going to be. Trey, or no, who's going first right now? Is it you?
Trevor, start off this one.
All right. Yep, go ahead.
All right, because of how we're doing it, I'm not going to talk about him, but Nick Bosa is clearly the defensive rookie of the year. There's no question there. So
yeah,
I want to talk about offensive since that's cut and dry.
Because I'm already going after Nick Bosa.
Yeah, but
I love Nick Bosa so much.
Offensive.
Yeah, Nick Bosa, I got that too.
At this point in the season, it is absolutely 100% Josh Jacobs for me.
Oh, 100. Yeah,
Ooh.
Not even close. No, yeah, it's probably
Josh
not
Jacobs,
close.
That's what I got too.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs he's top graded running back by PFF. He's making the running back position more important than it is. And a thing to mention, in the last 30 years, quarterback has won Offensive Rookie of the Year 6 times. It's like
It's
almost
probably
70.
Oh my God, it could really go to Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, almost 70% of offensive rookies the last 30 years are running backs.
Not just that, but
It's
the past 2 years, it is a running back.
As much as MVP is a quarterback award, Offensive Rookie of the Year is a running back award.
And TJ Hawkinson got hurt, so it fucked him out of Rookie of the Year for tight end. But he could have won it, but he got hurt.
Get out of here.
I got another thing to add on top of your whole history thing. Running backs, anytime they win Offensive Rookie of the Year, they don't go just consecutive back-to-back. They win at least 3 years in a row. In the past 2 seasons, the running back has won. So this is the 3rd year, meaning statistically, how it's always been, it's going to go to the running back.
That's an interesting quirk.
And you know what's even worse about this? The fact that this is one of the picks from the fucking goddamn Khalil Mack trade. And I swear to God, if the Bears get a top 10 pick that goes to the Raiders, and the Raiders get a top 10 draft pick, and they make the fucking playoffs, I'm going to be like, really? John Gruden won a Khalil Mack trade. Only John Gruden could trade Khalil Mack and walk away the goddamn winner of it going, yeah, I got a franchise running back, and I got another top 10 pick. Suck my dick.
It's not related to the Bears trade, but the only problem is that they were stupid and took Clelin Ferrell with the number 4 pick.
Yeah, I know they but I mean, he did something in the last game. He did, he showed up.
But you don't take a defensive tackle with the number 4 pick unless it's Aaron Donald.
With Josh Allen sitting there going, "What do I gotta do to get drafted out here? What do I gotta do to go to a team? Hey, I think I'm gonna be a Raider, Mom and Dad. Why? Because they need an edge rusher. They got rid of Khalil Mack for no reason. I feel like I should be wearing silver and black. I'd look good in it. They drafted Cullen Farrell.
Yeah, so I say it's Josh Jacobs, 100%. Can we agree that it's between Jacobs and Murray, and no one else is close?
Yeah, it's. I don't even know who else. Another offensive rookie.
Yeah, it's a distant third, but I have basically a 3-way tie between the 3 rookie wide receivers that are excelling right now.
Isn't it weird that it's really the rookies of the year? It's literally down to like, well, Bosa's winning defense, so don't even need to talk about that shit. And then offensive rookie of the year is like, well, fucking the running back here, old is probably just gonna win it because his team's a little bit better. It's just like but Kyler, god damn, that kind of complicated. I forgot about Kyler. I always think he's in his second year for some reason.
No, Kyler. I don't think Kyler's gonna get it. And Josh Jacobs, since 1980, he's one of the few running backs to reach 800 yards in 10 games.
I know, that's crazy. He got there quick.
Yeah. The Raiders' offensive line has done a 180 from last year. It was absolutely awful, and now it's one of the best.
Because it's John Gruden, dude. Everybody forgot that John Gruden built 2 Super Bowl teams, and then he put 2 teams in the Super Bowl. He built the Raiders that went to the Super Bowl that year. Then he got traded before that season started. And then he got traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who couldn't get past the hump. Gruden shows up, gets them past the hump with coaching. And then all of a sudden, it's John Gruden's old Raiders team playing John Gruden's new team. And then John Gruden beat his old team. So it's like, that's fucking incredible. This dude put 2 teams in the Super Bowl with his blueprint DNA. and then won. He's like, hell yeah, I won this shit. That 2002 Super Bowl was crazy.
I got a few more that we can add on Josh Jacobs too. Josh Jacobs has 23 more yards on Elliott, who lots of people can agree Elliott's a great running back. He has 23 more yards than Elliott with 10 less carries, 6 more touchdowns than Fournette, and he has 1 more yard per game than Barkley.
That's not bad.
Josh Jacobs. Yeah, that's not bad. He's been doing pretty good.
Not to mention his offensive line is kind of shitty. Other than Trent Brown, that's a terrible offensive line. He's got Richie Incognito out there poking dudes in the eyes and shit.
Incognito is...
He's actually a very good... He's a good football player.
Yeah, Rodney Hudson's playing like an all-pro.
Normally,
Miller took a huge step in his second year.
If you say the shit Richie Incognito says, they don't let you back on the football field. See Riley Cooper. But if you're as good as Richie Incognito, everybody just eventually forgives you and goes, oh, well, what are you going to do? Just not play Richie Incognito? Just not going to play the guy? Dude, we can get him for like league minimum. He's like a great right guard. What are we doing?
Like, is there even any more to discuss on the rookie of the year?
No,
I don't think so. I think we're all in agreement. Like, Bosa's clearly going to win. I mean, I could go over the Bosa. That's kind of why we went along with the MVP talks, because I figured
Unless
this was going to be
hurt. He's a lock for that.
I don't even think it matters if he doesn't get it. Listen to his numbers this year. Like, I went ahead and looked at this, and this is incredible already. Hold on. Where's the totals at?
Yeah, he leads in the quarterback pressures, not just in rookies, everyone, all time. That's great.
No, he does not.
Yeah, Nick Bosa, defensive end.
I'm going down here because Danielle Hunter leads the league in pressures, and I know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Danielle Hunter leads in pressures. Danielle
Hunter's 1, Zadarius Smith is 2, and Everson Griffin is 3.
It's because Everson Griffin's on the same line. But all right, so this is the games for this is Nick Bosa's stat line, right? He's got 1 pick, he returned it for 46 yards. He's got 1 fumble recovery, 1 forced fumble, 7 sacks, 29 combined tackles, 20 solo, 9 assisted, 12 tackles for loss, and 14 Q. Jesus Christ, dude. Dude, it's not
He's
even,
not
not
playing
even gonna
like
be close.
rookie.
No, he's playing better than his older brother. His older brother wishes he could have a year like this. Here's the advanced statistics now. These are the fun ones, right? These are the ones that really show you how good somebody is. He's had 1 pass, and a guy he's been covering, they've thrown 1 ball to him, and he picked it off. He has 100% completion percentage on his incomplete. Like, if you throw at him, he's probably gonna pick you off. He's got a 24 completion. He's given up 24 yards. I don't really know how that's possible. He's got 13 QB hurries. He's got 17 sacks. QB key. What the hell is QB key D? QB knockdowns. So he's got 7 of those. He's got 7 sacks. That's the 14 QB hits. 27 pressures. Jesus Christ. 29 combined tackles. 3 missed. He's only missed 3 tackles this year. So when he goes to tackle somebody, he's pretty much just tackling you. You're not getting on it. Jesus, dude, this guy is just perfect.
Yeah. Well, what do we want to
and he's only played in 70% of the snaps this year. Those are his numbers, and they've literally they're easing him in.
Yeah.
He missed a game already this year. He didn't play against Cincinnati. And what else? I think he missed it. He only barely played. I think they took him out of the game against the Rams because he got hurt early. And I believe that the same thing happened against the first 3 games. I think they barely used the fucking dude. Yeah. So he it's I don't know. Like it's the first few games. I don't know. He just didn't do anything. It looks like the first 3, and then all of a sudden it's just the last 3 games. It's literally been the last 3 games. He's just come to fucking life out of nowhere. Just 4 games. It started against Washington, I would say, or Cleveland, really. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's really all we have. There's not much really to say more about the Rookie of the Year. We could do Offensive Player of the Year, which is just sort of an extension of the MVP talks.
Well,
Unless you have something you want to say about any of these, Trey, but you kind of already spoke what you had. You kind of already said and who you said.
Yeah, I did.
All right, Offensive Player of the Year. I'm pretty sure we're all going in a similar direction here. It's this one's a little bit more wide open. It could be a running back, could be a receiver, because this award's a little more nuanced, I would say, than other awards in the NFL. It's kind of random who wins the Offensive Player of the Year. But I personally, because I go first here, I believe, I'm going Lamar Jackson on this award. Ironically, I think he's gonna have he's gonna have near MVP numbers. I think he's gonna have he's gonna have almost 4,000 passing yards, probably 31 touchdowns passing. Probably, Jesus, how many rushing yards? Probably right around 1,000, because he's already at 700 this year. So he'll probably get another 2. He'll probably throw for another 15. That's pushing it. That's really pushing it. No, yeah, I think that's fair. Because of the rushing, the combined rushing, that's almost 6,000 fucking yards. Or will it be about 5,000 yards of total offense? I think it's going to be about 40 total touchdowns. Probably only about 11 to 12 to 13 total turnovers. And when you're talking about just pure offense, this is what Offensive Player of the Year is for. MVP should be reserved for a guy like Russell Wilson, for guys like Stephon Gilmore's, for guys like Christian McCaffrey's, who are literally like the most valuable player on their football team, in terms of what they provide, what they're doing with what's around them. I guess that kind of takes away Stephon Gilmore because he's got the McCourty twins, Patrick Chung, who, even though I think he sucks. I believe he's got the Patriots defense is so goddamn stacked in the secondary. Yeah, so I just think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. It just seems like this is just if he's going to win an award this year, I don't think it'll be MVP. I think this is an award tailor-made for a running quarterback. Didn't Vic win this pretty easily, like a couple times? And I also think he should win the award because his middle name is Demetrius. So, Lamar Demetrius Jackson Jr. That's my pick. So I don't know. I'm going to be short on this one, to be honest. I think he's clearly going to win it as long as he keeps up at this rate. Just literally just double his numbers, because he's got what they got 9. They got so a little, take about 200 yards off. Like 90 rushing yards off, 2 touchdowns, add a pick. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's ever next? Go ahead.
Alright, so I'm going to go with McCaffrey on this one, the running back.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad pick.
Yeah. And, so I'm going to have him as offensive player of the year with, what was it? When I look at it, he had 10 touchdowns, 5.3 yards per carry, 861 rushing yards. What was it, like 363 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 150 yards in 6 of the first 8 games, which is he's only the 3rd player ever to do that, by the way. He's been a pretty good running back. He's been and whenever I was looking at lists, I saw quite a few lists had McCaffrey up in the number 1 spot. And I just think McCaffrey, yes, after the Panthers got their quarterback, he's been doing pretty well. But really, McCaffrey's been the offense on the Panthers, and I think he should win an award this year. And he's not going to be MVP, but he should win an award. So I think he's going to end up with the Offensive Player of the Year.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm with Trey on this one. I've got McCaffrey. He's, barring an injury, he's almost a lock to break the scrimmage yards record. It's going to be the best season by a running back since Adrian Peterson's MVP year. I don't think, unless Patrick Mahomes.
Are you talking about Eric Dickerson's record, like the 3,000 or some bullshit that he got that?
No, the all-purpose yards, which is rushing plus receiving. Or
yeah, but I thought that was Dickerson.
Scrimmage yards. Dickerson had the rushing yards record for a season.
I thought he also had the scrimmage yards record.
I'm not sure. For some reason, I thought it was David Johnson, but he might have just gotten close to it.
Like, I think he might have. Johnson might have broke it. To be fair, like he could have broke it, but I think Dickerson had both because he's Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, I'm not sure. My point is though that McCaffrey's almost a lock to break that, and unless you have Pat Mahomes throw for 50 touchdowns again and not get the MVP, then I think McCaffrey is definitely going to get it having a season like that. But I do want to mention that he's behind McCaffrey, don't get me wrong, but it's not some huge gap. Dalvin Cook is second for me, and if you look at their yards per touch, which is just average yards between both rushing and receiving, Dalvin Cook has that 5.82 yards per touch. McCaffrey's at 5.94. So
yeah, and if McCaffrey's team and if McCaffrey or if Dalvin Cook didn't have such goddamn teammates as teammate divas, he might have a little bit more luck with some of the passing, or it was some of the more rushing that we see McCaffrey get. Because oh boy, they tried running the ball for about 2 weeks in Minnesota, and them receivers lost their fucking minds about that. They're like, wait a goddamn minute here.
Rightfully so, because they were Thielen and Diggs were getting like targets. They were getting like 10 targets combined a game, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, fucking 6 going to Thielen, 4 going to Diggs, and 1 a quarter. Just
but
Kirk.
So I had CMC 1, Dalvin Cook at 2, and then I basically just had a stand-in as MVP QB runner-up at number 3.
So it would be Lamar.
Mahomes or Lamar, one of those guys having insane stats, but missing out on MVP because Wilson is carrying the team.
Yep, that sounds about right for that award. I guess we would have to do what? Defensive Player of the Year now?
And I'm excited for this one.
All right, go ahead, Trey. You have to lead this one off.
Okay, well, I was reading different articles talking about the Defensive Player of the Year, and I saw quite a few.
Candidate? Do you know who the leading candidate is as of today?
As of today, I think it's Minka Fitzpatrick.
No, that's not Minka Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick.
No, I've seen quite a few articles in his favor. I've seen Aaron Donald have some articles in his favor, but he doesn't seem to have really any of the stat lines. Even though I've seen articles that love Aaron Donald, but I haven't seen any actual defense for Aaron Donald.
Yeah, Gilmore's leading the odds right now.
I was gonna say, who's the odds leader right now? It's Stephon Gilmore, baby. Number 24, baby. Who's winning the award, baby? All right, go ahead, Trey. It's not my turn yet.
All right, well.
I'm about to go on the most impassioned Patriot rant in about like 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
It's not gonna be fun. But alright, well, I don't. Here's the thing. I have respect for the Patriots, so yeah, I don't mind that. But I really hate the Steelers. Yet, I saw an article that really seemed to put up a good argument for Fitzpatrick. Before he came, the Steelers D was like the 30th in the NFL, one of the worst. And then he comes in, and all of a sudden, the Steelers defense is actually playing pretty good. He has 5 interceptions he has 9 assisted tackles, 22 solo tackles for 34 tackles. He has 1 forced fumble with a fumble recovery and a fumble touchdown. So he forced the fumble, picked it up, and ran it for a touchdown. And again, before he got to the Steelers, he was just crap shit, one of the worst in the NFL, and now that he's there, the defense is actually playing good football. And it's just not too many stats in the article, it was just talking about how he just kind of helped build the Steelers defense to what it is now. But, I still hate the Steelers. You can go on, Trevor.
Alright, so Alright. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do was say the award's coming from a player on a playoff team. So, as good as Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald are, I'm going to rule those 2 out.
Yeah, you got to be a playoff team to get this award. That's why I'm ruling Minka out.
Yeah, those are the 2 best defensive players in the league, in my opinion. But they're going to be left out. I'm looking down the list, and I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure, just glancing through the teams and not fact-checking every single one, but I'm pretty sure that only one time since 2000 has a defensive player of the year not come from a playoff team, and that was JJ Watt in 2014.
I was going to say it's probably JJ with the Texans.
It was JJ Watt in 2014, when the year that he should have won MVP of the league. The year he had like six touchdowns on offense. He had like 3 touchdowns on defense. He had like 20.5 sacks.
Who won the MVP that year?
Aaron Rodgers.
Fuck that guy. I think he won it over Brady, didn't he?
I'm not sure, but J.J. Watt should have won that award that year, and that's the only time
Brady should have won quarterback of the year over fucking
That's
Rodgers.
the only time in the last almost 20 years, I'm pretty sure, that a defensive player of the year did not come from a playoff team. So I'm ruling
that's how good J.J. Watt is.
Yeah, but yeah. So so Trey, I think we're both trying to say. I think your pick though, it's very ambitious. And it could be it very well could be next year's defensive player of the year. And I think you're probably right, but you're a year early on the Steelers.
And so I'm going to go in reverse order on this one, just because. So basically, right now, I would have T.J. Watt and Minka tied at 4.
Ooh, Watt's brother.
They would have a much better chance if they had won the game last night. And
isn't it annoying that T.J. Watt tries to make the same faces that his brother makes in his pictures? He did the same like muscle man pose. Like it's like, dude, come on, be your own man. I don't like it.
Yeah, but okay, so I'll just go ahead and say it. My pick's Bosa. He's not the defensive rookie of the year. He's the defensive player of the year for me.
You think he's gonna go ahead and just win the whole? He'd win the defensive rookie, yeah. So
I
that
think
would happen.
At this point, it's hard to predict the rest of the year.
Who do you have at 2? Who do you have at 2?
Well, for defensive player of the year, it's hard to predict.
It is. It's a very hard
for the second half of the year because someone could have 5 interceptions just because quarterbacks are throwing right to him or something. So defensive player of the year can change a lot more than offensive, or just because defense is a lot less stable in general. So
and you're not too sure what.
There's a lot more variation. Yeah, it can change a lot more. That's the point I'm making. It's hard to predict, but through week 10 of the season, Nick Bosa has been the best defensive player in the league, in my opinion. And so number 2, I got Gilmore, and he's not far off. It's like a Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook situation for me. They're pretty close, but one is ahead as of now. And then number 3, I've got Danielle Hunter.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
And Danielle Hunter.
It sucks that D linemen just don't get that award, like defensive tackle. Well, unless you're fucking Aaron Donald.
It has been a defensive lineman.
Yeah, it's always been D tackles and it's been DNs winning the award left and goddamn right. And is it Griffin though, the D end, Everson?
Yeah. So the last 5 years, it's gone to a defensive end.
Yeah. So
and
more than likely,
went to a secondary player was in 2010.
More than likely, guess who? It's going to Bosa.
Yeah. So like right now for the odds, Gilmore's at 7-1, Bosa's at 9-1, and you got a bunch of other guys randomly mixed in. Danielle Hunter's 28-1, and he's like 20th in odds, which is just insane to me. I mean, he's leading the league in pressures. He's one of the best run defenders on the edge.
He's just a defensive tackle who's not named Strahan or Donald.
Well, he's a DN, but I mean,
that's weird.
He's not super flashy. He plays on a defense that has a lot of big names. So it's just.
Trey. What are you doing, Trey?
I'm just looking at the standings right now.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I think Danielle Hunter is getting overlooked way more than he should. Gilmore and Bosa have a distinct gap between them and the rest of the field right now, but I think Danielle Hunter is being real overshadowed.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But all right, so I guess I get to go now, and of course, I'm obviously going to be going Team Patriots here, and I'm going to be going with Stephon Gilmore, what I consider to be one of the best corners since I believe, I don't know, maybe Darrelle Revis. Maybe he was the best since. Maybe we have more of who's the cornerback that played. Everybody always forgets his name until like they remember it all of a sudden. He played for the Raiders, and when he got to Oakland, he wasn't good anymore. Like, he was the man when he played for. It was like he was really good in Oakland. Then he went to the Eagles, and he was goddamn terrible because they had him playing a different, I don't know. I don't think it's one of those situations. I think it's more of it's just I think it's like a Darrelle Revis type situation, a Ty Law type situation. He's just better, and and the numbers just kind of speak for themselves this year so far. He's played in 9 games. Obviously, he's got 3 interceptions. Some the fuck how. 62. He's returned one of them for a pick, and I believe that was a 54-yard one. No fumbles because it's just how it is. He doesn't have any sacks because they play man coverage. He's got 27 combined tackles. 22 of them are solo. That's more of the symptom of playing in single man coverage all the time. But that's against the number 1 receiver. Don't get that all twisted up. He's going by himself against the number 1, which is usually a recipe for getting burned. But we can look at the advanced statistics and know that that's not even the case in the slightest. They're 30 for 57 when they're throwing against Stephon Gilmore. That's 52.6% completion. That's the quarterback throwing to his best receiver for 322 passing yards, 10.7 yards per completion. The yards per target is 5.6. 0 touchdowns against Gilmore this year. 47.6 rating against him. They're only attempting throws against him about 10 yards. He's given up 220 yards, it looks like, total. 102 yards on the catch. He's missed 5 tackles this year, which is, that's pretty good for a corner in single coverage against normally much bigger defensive backs or receivers. He's 6'1", 202, not. So I don't know. I feel like when you think about that, that's unreal how good of a shutdown corner he is. When he's only gotten 57 attempts, and he's picked the ball off 3 times. I don't see many number 1 corners getting these kind of numbers, knowing the fact that they're, especially when you consider that he's playing in single man coverage. Like, he's just going by himself against fucking every number 1 that sure, the opponents haven't been the greatest, but
he's playing like Xavier Rhodes in 2017.
He's playing like Darrelle Revis
without the bad games against the Lions and with a ton of interceptions.
Yeah. The 3 picks is the unreal part. It's like, how the hell do you have 3 picks when you're that well known?
Yeah, and that's the only problem. I don't know if it's a problem because Gilmore's been outstanding. But I just hate defensive interceptions as a stat in general. That you have to put them into context. And I'm not saying that Gilmore's are one way or another. I'm just saying the stat as a whole is flawed to use.
Because most of them are tip balls.
The stat's flawed to use unless you put like every single pick that a player has into context. Because you can have a tip ball, you can have a drop ball by the receiver, which has led to a lot of Baker Mayfield's picks this year.
And you can ask what quarterbacks did they throw him against? Was it against like Miami, the Giants and Jets? Because that's who his picks were against.
Yeah, and you can have a quarterback. You can have a quarterback that either throws the ball off target, or you can have a quarterback that throws the ball to a receiver that is completely that Gilmore's completely draped over.
I think one of the things that also gives Stephon a bit of a thing is the fact that he's obviously playing against number 1 receivers in a passing league. But I think another thing that hurts I know that Stephon has a very good secondary around him. The McCourty twins are fucking unreal safeties. Chung's an unreal safety, as much as I don't like the dude. He's really good. At the other corner opposite of his name slips my mind all the goddamn time. I think it's Byron. It's not Jones. It's
Byron.
It's
Byron
fucking.
Buxton?
It's something like that. It's just he's just really quiet. He's like no, but he's the one who gives up all the plays and shit. If they ever have a passing play, it's against him. But not really, because he's just a shutdown.
And that's the one thing I can't look at every single Gilmore.
He's a former
interception this year.
Texan. I'm pretty sure the guy who plays opposite of Gilmore was on the Texans last year, and the Patriots went, "Woink, we'll take your best." Okay. I think it's Josh Jackson. Yeah.
A video of every interception Gilmore's had and look at it right now, but the one prop I will give him on the interceptions is that he is a man cornerback. And
yeah, that's tough.
Man players, whether it's safety or cornerback, it's a lot harder to get picks because you're watching the receiver in zone. You're watching the quarterback,
and that's why one thing.
That's why zone players like Eddie Jackson get a lot of receptions on average because they're watching the quarterback.
Right. And one of the things also I'll have to kind of fault against Bosa is if you look at the defensive line. Who are you gonna not double team? I'm gonna let the rookie go in single coverage for a couple weeks. Because like there's 4 dudes who were literally all top 10 draft picks on that defensive line. Don't know how they did that. Don't know how they acquired all those dudes on the defensive line, but they did it. They somehow have them.
It's because if you take in a defensive tackles, unless they're Aaron Donald, aren't massively impactful. So if they take a defensive tackle 3 years in a row and they have a bad team, that defensive tackle isn't going to suddenly make the team better. So they just accumulated defensive tackles in the first couple rounds. And now that they have a decent team around him with a quarterback that's healthy, then now they're all showing.
Yeah, now all of a sudden all these defensive linemen are like, wait a minute, there's a lot of us here that we're all really big, fucking mean, strong dudes. And they all went, we also got D Ford over here too. We don't even know where the fuck he came from. But boy, is it nice to have him around here.
Yeah, but I mean, to sum up my point, Bosa is a slight favorite over Gilmore right now. And if someone other than those two were to win it, I think Danielle Hunter's the best dark horse.
That's fair. And I also think I think teams are going to start scheming on I want to see how Bosa does with the scheming now, because now they're going to start. He's not flying under any goddamn radar for the rest of this year. That's over with. That's all done. Yeah. So he's going to be dealing with double team schemes. He's going to be dealing with getting blocked by the running back, and then getting blocked again by another lineman out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah,
so,
that plus after the Cardinals this week, he's going to have 3 straight weeks going up against the Packers, Ravens, and Saints, which are 3 of the top 10, maybe 3 of the top 5 offensive lines in the league.
And they're gonna be circling him. And they're gonna have him circled, going like, dude, we know how to play your brother. We're gonna fuck with you.
Yeah, Brian Bulaga and Ryan Ramczyk are probably the 2 best right tackles in the league, and he's going to have to face them 2 of 3 weeks. So that's where we'll go. Because he might be like it. I'm not saying he is, but it's a possibility that he's like Shaq
Thompson.
Shaq Barrett, the dude in Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Shaq Barrett, this year, when he has gone against objectively bad offensive linemen, he has done absolutely outstanding. When he's gone against good offensive linemen, he's been god-awful. That's
why the Broncos went, oh, get this fucking dude out of here.
If you take the Minnesota Vikings as a team and make them into a player, that player is Shaq Barrett, because they beat up on terrible teams and they get destroyed when they play top tier teams.
Wow.
Except the Cowboys gave birth to primetime Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. If that's what happens to Bosa, if he gets shut down by the best of the best, then he's not winning the award. You don't win an award just by beating up on the terrible.
Comeback player of the year is going to be primetime Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Who isn't rooting for Kirk Cousins other than people who like really just hated him for no real reason? It's like, the dude's a likable guy. It's fun to make fun of him. I want him to do good. It's just like, it's goofy. Has Andy Dalton level stats in big
and now
games.
Jared Goff is that guy.
Yeah, now it's Jared Goff, which is even better, because
Jared Goff is
Goff's
getting $32 million a year. Jared Goff's getting $4 million a year more, and he's a worse quarterback.
Yeah, the Vikings are going, hey, this doesn't look as bad now, does it? Now that all these other dudes are getting all this money, and Kirk's can play in the big games now. Kirk's going, yeah, I can throw it now, because they told me they're going to cut me if I don't learn how to stop being a pussy. It's like, dude, just throw the ball, Kirk. Jesus Christ. Like, dude, you have really good receivers. Just force it in there. Just you can force the ball with these two. Just get it to them. But I don't know. I don't really have much else to say. I think it's gonna be Gilmore, but it's really down to like 3 guys, I would say, on defense. Maybe even just 2, really, between Bosa and Gilmore. Probably Donald. Donald will be in there just because it's Aaron Donald.
Yeah, the only difference between now and other years is that usually there's 1 or 2 like really standout guys.
Standout guys, yeah.
There's not a guy that's completely standing out, so that could open the door for a non-playoff player to get in.
Like a
namely
Minka.
Aaron Donald namely Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack, or Minka.
More than likely,
if Minka ends up with like 12 interceptions,
yeah,
no
if
matter
Minka gets
how
12
he's
picks, they'll give him the award.
Yeah.
They might try to go, man, we might have to give this motherfucker MVP.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got to say on defensive player, though.
Yeah. What about you, Trey?
Honestly, with defensive player of the year, I don't really have too much to say or too much to add on that one.
Oh, yeah, he was talking about Minka before we went off our tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we beat the dead horse on that. But all right, so let's go to our most likely Super Bowl matchup. We're at 1 hour and 10 minutes, so
speed it up a bit.
Wow, an hour already?
Yeah, we're not too bad. We're not too long. We'll keep it going.
I
have a feeling the Myles Garrett thing is gonna last like 2 minutes apiece, so don't worry about it.
So who's going first on the?
I think technically it would be
I think it's my turn.
Trevor's turn. Yep.
Yeah. So what I did was I did my top 3 teams from each conference. So do you want me to do that, or do you want me just to say the top Super Bowl matchup?
I would just go with
I don't care which one you do.
I would go just the top Super Bowl matchup for time's sake.
Yeah, it's Pats versus Saints.
You think it's Pats Saints?
It's a no-brainer for me. If the Saints get home field advantage, which I think the Saints are about 50% to get home field right now, and then 50% between all the teams in contention.
That's fair. That's fair.
If the Saints get home field, I think it's not a lock because it's the NFL playoffs, but like the Seahawks aren't going into this Superdome and winning. The Vikings definitely aren't because they aren't winning a road playoff game. I don't think San Francisco would be able to do it, and Green Bay. Green Bay is the one that could give them a shot because Aaron Rodgers could carve them up.
I could see the rest of the team choking, other than Aaron Rodgers. That's what happens usually. Yeah,
I'm just thinking Saints are easily the most likely for me, especially if they get home field. If they don't get home field, I would still have them as the favorite probably. But if they do, which I think is most likely, then they're definitely in there. And if the Patriots are probably like 90% like, if they get that, they're a lock for the AFC Championship game. They're like 99% for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because we get N'Keal Harry back. We're gonna see. Obviously, Mohamed Sanu is going to be beautiful in that offense. He had like 6 days to get ready for a fucking game, and he looked pretty good in the debut. So, or at least the second game. And
then you got 3 contenders in the AFC, like that could beat them. The Texans. There's 0 chance the Texans are going into Foxborough.
They don't win. They can't beat the Patriots. So that's
in Foxborough, especially. I don't think they'd win it if they were at home.
I think they've literally beat the Patriots 1 time. During the.
That was whenever Tom Brady wasn't throwing the.
I think they beat the Patriots once.
The Jacoby Brissett game was the only time the Texans.
The only time they've ever beaten the Patriots during the Brady era.
Yeah. Not just during that's not just during Brady era. That's because you forget how young the Texans are. The Brady era is the only era that the Texans existed.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The Brady era is older than the Houston Texans.
Yeah, he got drafted the year before they existed.
Yes. So I mean, it's like it's the only time the Texans have ever beaten the Patriots. Period.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
as long as my theory is true that Bill Belichick wasn't showing his best stuff against Lamar Jackson, and he has a real game plan next time, I don't think that.
I think that was more of a, I want to see everything. I'm gonna test this kid. I'm gonna make him play his best, and if this is all he can do, I'm gonna fuck his goddamn world up the next time I see him. He does this against running quarterbacks. Well,
Bill Belichick is going to have a different game plan for Lamar Jackson.
I can give you an example of this, actually. I had a big example of how everyone's going to bring up the Ravens, and I'm going to go, do you remember the first time that the Patriots seen the Wildcat? It almost seemed like they could do, I think they lost like 44-10 against the Wildcat offense, right? The Patriots did. They were the first victim of this whole thing. Then the Jets came back, or the Dolphins came back around, right? Everyone's like, the goddamn Dolphins, man. Nobody can stop the Wildcat. Or whoever was running it. I can't remember who it was. But they came back around and played the Patriots. Because I believe it was an AFC East team that was just all of a sudden running the Wildcat. And it was just this, yeah, it was the Dolphins. And then they came back, and then they scored like 3 points on the Patriots and had like 12 rushing yards. And I went, because Bill Belichick just wants to see what you got, because you're going to throw your best against him because you're stupid and you don't understand that he's not playing for real yet. You're playing for keeps. He's playing for knowledge. He's basically spying on your team right now. And we already know, we've seen Lamar's best. That was against the Patriots. That was the best he's ever probably played a football game. And do you think he's going to be able to replicate that now, knowing that this team has every fucking one of his like best things he's capable of doing? We know it now. It's just like, all right, cool. Try that again. Now we'll know all your tendencies. We know your tells. We know your trick tells. We know this tell. Good luck, Lamar. Good luck. It's almost like you can goat a player into beating you. You know what I mean? A loss can be a good loss.
Yeah,
kind of.
So, I mean, that's the Super Bowl I see most likely Patriots versus Saints. If I had to give a winner, this would be a literal coin flip for me at this point in the season. Knowing what I know about the teams right now, I would literally flip a coin to pick the winner. But I would, if I have to pick someone right now, I'd say the Saints.
They're a very complete team. I understand it.
They're super complete. I think the difference would probably be the Saints O-line, Saints D-line, or both line matchups really, because the Saints have an elite offensive line against the Patriots. Are really good at manufacturing pressure, but they don't have players that can win.
The quarterback. No,
they don't have players that can win 1v1 without defensive players aiding them. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be just 50-50.
All right. I guess I can go now. I think it would be my turn. So for what I've got for this one, I obviously have the best team in the football, the Chiefs in the Super Bowl versus the
Wait.
And then I got the Packers winning it.
Whoa, wait, what? You can't be serious on that one.
Rodgers taking his throne in the NFL.
Full crap.
Dude.
Mahomes will openly fillet Aaron after the game, and then they'll both
just do your actual picks. Come on.
They'll both rip off their State Farm onesies and shit in their diapers, and that'll be the end of their careers. They'll retire together. It'll be adorable. That's what everyone wants to happen, I think. But the actual Super Bowl will hopefully be the Patriots playing the Saints. That's probably what's going to happen at this point. The Saints are clearly going to win the NFC. The problem with the 49ers, I don't think their offense is going to be good enough. I don't think I don't know. Something just doesn't feel right with that offense. Their defense is obviously elite, but the offense worries me. I don't think they could beat the Saints in a high-pressure game. I don't know if Jimmy G has that in him. Aaron Rodgers chokes a whole bunch in the playoffs. He's like 4 wins in the playoffs since his Super Bowl. No thanks. 4-7 or something since then. I'll pass on that too. Yeah, and obviously the Saints are the Saints. They looked good even without their starting quarterback. They went with the backup for 6 straight games. So, and like big games too against like good teams. It wasn't like they beat a bunch of shitty teams for 6 games. They had some fucking drag out, brutal games that their defense basically. So I'm very impressed with the Saints. I don't think Drew Brees is gonna have a fatigue factor this year. Because he already missed a whole bunch of games, so he's kind of playing on a fresh body.
That's huge for me.
That's a big thing, by the way, you guys, because Brees died last year after 10 weeks.
Drew Brees getting hurt might have been the best thing for the Saints.
Because he's not going to be tired by the end of the year. He's got 5 extra weeks in his body, so 6 weeks rather. Sorry.
That injury in this time might have prevented Drew Brees from flaming out late in the season.
Yeah, and because he flamed out last year. After that Dallas game, he was not the same quarterback.
The last 6 games of the year, including playoffs, he was collectively in those 6 games, he was average at best.
I think he threw, through those 7 games that were made, I think it was 7 games, he threw like 7 touchdowns. It's like, ooh. And he played in 6
I'm going off memory here from last time I saw it, which was months ago, but I'm pretty sure it was 5 touchdowns and 4 receptions the rest of this season.
Yeah, after that.
I'm not 100% sure.
But it was bad. It was not good.
I know the touchdowns was one more than the interception.
It was like, oh, Breeze, and everybody talks about Brady falling off a cliff. Breeze looked at the cliff and fucking jumped off, but jumped to another cliff and caught on really quick and went, I got another couple years left on this cliff now. And now he climbed back up because he probably took steroids in the off season, like everybody else does. And then, but yeah, so no, I'm pretty sure it's the Patriots and Saints. At the start of the season, I have Patriots and Eagles, but I don't think the Eagles are worth the fuck anymore. Nobody can catch. I thought they had this immaculate offense, but not a single player can catch the ball anymore. So I'm done on that.
If the Eagles had wide receiver, they would be second in the NFC for me.
Yeah, they would be, but poor he's hitting dudes wide open right in the fucking bread baskets.
Carson Wentz has played great this year, and I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, he's worth every penny that he's gotten so far because he's hitting dudes wide open, and they're just dropping it. They honestly should be a 6 or 7 win team. If Aguilar hadn't dropped like 3 balls in 3 games, they should have won. Early in the season against the Lions.
Falcons.
Yeah, they should have beat the Lions. Like Aguilar dropped like 14 passes against us.
Yeah. All right, Trey. I can hear that you're itching to tell us about how the Texans are going to the Super Bowl.
I wish I had the Texans, but I don't. The Texans will end up going to the Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson. This is just not our year. We will be going there possibly next year. But this year, my pick is completely different from yours and Rob's, both in the AFC and in the NFC.
For the Ravens, Packers.
No, not the Packers. The Ravens versus 49ers. The rematch of the first Super Bowl I actually sat down and watched. The 49ers were... Here's the thing, the Saints, yes, I get the hesitation for the 49ers. I understand that. But they're still a very good team.
Lamar Jackson was 14 of 30 in the playoff game last year. He's a terrible fucking clutch passer. Sorry.
Lamar has improved a ton from last year, though.
But he has.
Lamar was the bottom 5. Lamar was not a good quarterback last year. He was a bad quarterback last year that got carried by the number 1 defense in the league.
But he looked way worse in the playoffs, if you remember. He looked god-awful in that playoff game.
It's because the Chargers had the perfect personnel to match him. They played 7 DBs almost every single snap, so they had guys that could keep up with him.
Yeah,
but they had the perfect strategy to stop 2018 Lamar Jackson, who couldn't throw.
Yeah, and they didn't have a running back last year, so they could really you didn't have to respect Mark, but. Go ahead again, Trey.
Okay, so here's the thing. It's not just. I'm not just looking at.
If I was only looking at this year, I honestly would have the Patriots for the AFC. But I'm just kind of looking at. Here's the thing: the Patriots are a good team. They have a high chance of making it to the Super Bowl this year. But at the same time, I'm looking, what are the odds of them making it to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row? That's the other thing I'm looking at. Yes, they are a really good team. They're possibly the best team in the AFC right now. I honestly I still have them ranked as the #1 team in the NFL. But when I'm looking at the past, they've been to the Super Bowl the past 3 years. It's not just me hating on the Patriots. Like I said, I respect the team. I'm just looking, the odds are not in their favor in the category of making it 4 years in a row.
How is it just because historically it's never happened? But historically,
it's happened once before.
There's never been a team like the Patriots. There's never been a team that's been good for 20 straight years.
There was one team that went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row.
Yeah, I'm talking about being good for 20 straight years. When was the last time there's been a team that's been relevant for 20 straight seasons? It's never happened, dude.
It never happened. Yeah, the Patriots have that.
I think the only team and the only sport it's ever happened in, other than football, it was hockey when the Red Wings made it for 25 years, and then the Yankees made it for like 20 years. I think that's it for playoffs. And then it's the Patriots. So I don't know, man. The odds are in the Patriots' favor to just go to this game.
I don't want to get all nerdy on you, but the Patriots making it the last 3 years it doesn't affect their chances this year. Like, if you start from today and say, like, the next 4 years this team makes the Super Bowl every year, then you can factor in each year, like, consecutively. But if we're talking about the Patriots making the Super Bowl this year, them making it the past 3 years has nothing to do with their odds this year, unless you're just talking about the fatigue factor of playing an extra month of football.
I'm not just talking about fatigue factor, but it's also, streaks are made to end. Like, a streak is going on a long time. Whenever I see a team going on a streak, I get nervous about when the streak will end. That's why I said this Patriots. Yeah, it's like the Patriots Super Bowl odds, in my opinion, went up the moment they lost to the Ravens. When I've said it multiple times that if the Patriots went 16-0, I didn't really like their chances of going into the playoffs, because again, with each win, the chances of them losing gets higher and higher and higher. So yes, this one loss does increase their chances for me, but then at the same time, they won the past 3 years, and even if they win the next games, looking at the teams historically, there hasn't been a team that's gone 15-1 and went to the Super Bowl and won it all. It's normally when your team goes 15-1 or they don't do.
But my argument is,
happens.
Why are we using NFL history to try to explain this current Patriots team? That's not a good thing to use. There's just nothing that compares to it in the entire history of the NFL. There is not a single team that compares to what the Patriots have done. So to me, it's like, yeah, we can try to use, like, common statistics, common things for things, but it's like the quarterback's 43 years old. It's like, and he's still playing at a rate that is considered, yeah, that's fine. You can play like that in the NFL. That's perfectly fine. You can game manage. You can that's a great level for a game manager, and that's all Brady needs to do. And you know how terrifying it is that Brady, all he has to do is manage the fucking game on offense, and they'll win. You know how capable he is of just going, yeah, I can do checkdowns for fucking 12, 13 play drives. You want me to do that? Okay, I'll go 20 play drives. And it's to me, it's like, man, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous football team. Remember,
the Patriots are a dangerous football team. The Patriots really are a dangerous football team. And
remember that Broncos team? Do you remember that Broncos team? that
Peyton Manning
that won the Super Bowl? Yeah, Peyton Manning threw like 4 touchdowns that year and like 20 interceptions.
He didn't throw a single touchdown in the Super Bowl either.
Yeah, guess what? And he's probably it's almost the same thing. It literally feels very similar to that. But I think the Broncos defense was no, it wasn't. It's literally the same fucking thing.
The only thing that scares me about the Patriots is like what you were mentioning about those long drives. The Patriots, I don't want to say they're incapable.
They can't beat you deep.
No, yeah, they aren't good at getting quick scores. They aren't going to score unless it's like a 2-minute drive. They aren't going to score on you in 3 or 4 plays. They're not going to score in 2 minutes, and that's something that's very valuable. Like,
it's almost like, are they
like
hiding?
having,
You know how you were bringing up earlier something about how that they might be hiding shit for the playoffs. I'm almost wondering if like there's like an explosive factor with Philip Dorsett, who barely fucking plays, but whenever he plays, he like gets like a 40-yard play out of nowhere, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why aren't they just using the shit out of? How is he always hurt? He only plays like 3 snaps, and he gets like 3 catches for like 90 yards, and then he's gone. And I'm like, well, there goes Philip Dorsett for 3 weeks.
I definitely think that their offense is going to be more explosive in the playoffs. I'm just not sure how much more. But what I know is that having like 4 scoring drives of like 15 plays or more is not something that's on a season-long basis.
Yeah, and so and when it comes to a team that can, if I had to put my money on the teams that can go to the playoffs right now, on other than the Patriots to make it to the Super Bowl, because I'm not picking the Patriots just because of how I'm looking at it, it's going to be the Ravens. Texans, like I said, it's not their year. They are good. Watson's been playing out of his mind with his highlight plays, but we still don't have an O-line, and our defense is just fucked. And you need a good defense to win the Super Bowl.
It's similar to what I was saying about the Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson for MVP. The Texans and Seahawks are very similar for me. Like, even if the Seahawks get the 1 seed, I would not be surprised at all if they lose in the divisional round.
They're gonna lose. The defense ain't gonna back it up on them. Yeah. And it's the same thing with the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs, they have a really great offense, but then the playoffs are gonna come. Offense gets you to the playoffs. Defense is what wins it all, and they do not have a good defense. And Andy Reid, again, he is not a good game manager. He's a great coach. He's not a good game manager, and he always loses it in the big moments. He's never had a Super Bowl win in his entire career. He's had many chances. He just never has had the moment. And then the Bills, they have a shot, but hell no, not with their horrible offense. They are not going.
The Bills are getting into the playoffs because of their terrible schedule. I predicted them to make the playoffs, but I knew there was absolutely no chance they were doing anything.
Sorry.
And so the Ravens are my pick. They have the number 1 scoring offense in the way I rank them, and the number 10 score prevent defense. And then I'm looking at the NFC. The Saints, I don't know. It's just for the Saints, honestly, the reason why I don't have them in here in the Super Bowl is because of the past few years. They just seem to get fucked in the playoffs. They play really well. They can play well in the playoffs, but then some bullshit thing happens, like last year with the pass interference call. The year before that with the Vikings, Minnesota Miracle. Just some bullshit thing happens, and they just end up losing it. And the Saints, I don't know. I just feel like maybe that'll happen again.
All right.
It's just
anything else anyone want to add, or sorry, it's just like we're at over an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, that's about it. Packers not my pick. Seahawks, terrible defense. Yeah, I got nothing else to add to that.
All right. I'm all set. So. All right. The last topic is kind of a bonus topic where we kind of just free flow, just kind of a small dialogue. On, of course, everybody already knows it's been everywhere, literally everywhere, on every news station, on every channel. Like MTV was talking about it. Fucking Myles Garrett. After what happened was he basically went and hit the quarterback, Mason Rudolph, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, after he threw the football. And I'm going to describe the whole play, basically. So he throws it, and, Myles Garrett completes the play, which is fine. It's you probably going to get flagged. It's whatever. But for some reason, Garrett, aggressively takes the guy down. He makes it his goddamn mission to put Rudolph in the dirt and, smother him in the dirt for no real reason. I don't understand why you would do that to a quarterback. It's not that impressive, Myles. It's like cool, dude. You beat up Mason Rudolph. But then, so Rudolph, while they're on the ground, starts, kind of swinging on him a little bit, kind of starts pulling on his helmet, kind of retaliating as you probably would if you're getting, assaulted, you think, by a giant man, Myles Garrett, for one. And then, the helmet gets ripped off of Mason Rudolph. Somehow his helmet gets ripped off. And then Myles Garrett decides, all right, I'm going to kill this little white man, and bashes him in the head with his helmet. But luckily, somehow, Myles Garrett got the luckiest he's probably ever gotten in his entire life, because the helmet hit him with the opening of the helmet. So the underside, basically.
So that was because of the person going in between Rudolph and, what was it, the other Steelers player. He got in between Rudolph and Garrett in the middle of the fight, and so he kind of
because dude, that crown would hit him in the middle of his goddamn head. Like that had probably killed him. It'd have cracked his skull open.
Yeah, so that one player just kind of, that little deflection saved Rudolph's life. And if for some reason Rudolph, some other Browns player goes back and it knocks Rudolph down again.
That was hilarious.
Why? Why?
But yeah, so basically my overall takeaway from this whole fucking disaster is the NFL had an easy walk of a fucking PR thing. This was so easy to handle. Everybody gets suspension that's involved. Rudolph gets a game. Pouncey probably gets 2 to 3, maybe 4 games. 3 games seems okay. A little excessive. I'd have gone 2 for Pouncey. The guy who shoved the quarterback gets a game. Obviously, you suspend Myles Garrett indefinitely. He just has to go away for a little while. But, of course, they didn't suspend the right people. They just kind of, it seems like they went, they didn't suspend Mason Rudolph whatsoever. And now everybody's pissed off because it's like, oh, great, the NFL is showing who their favorite team is again. Because we all know how the NFL has a super infatuation with a certain team that wears black and yellow. We don't really need to talk about.
Yeah, they missed a touchdown pass that would have helped the Oilers get to the Super Bowl that was against the Steelers.
Dude, if there's a call and it's going against, and you're not the Patriots and it's against the Steelers, you might as well go, oh, that's the Steelers, whatever the Steelers needed. That's just theirs now.
That was a clear touchdown, and that play is the reason we have replay reviews now.
And what would happen if you suspended Mason Rudolph from the Steelers team right now? Oh, their season would end.
No. Doug Hodges is a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph. If they suspended Mason Rudolph, they would help the Steelers. Because the Steelers are too stubborn.
But here's my takeaway from this whole thing. The NFL fucked this up, and it's, of course, the NFL blundered another fucking decision thing. They can't retroactively go back and suspend Mason either, because he'd basically just pull a Ray Rice and win instantly. There's already precedence for this. They've already punished him for this incident. They fined him. So they can't change his punishment now. So they fucked that up. Everybody's pissed off at the NFL again. They look stupid again in the eyes of everybody. So great job, NFL. It's just like, I know who, I have inside information on. I know who orchestrated the hit on Mason Rudolph. It was Big Ben. Big Ben has shooters out here in these streets, and it's Myles Garrett. He went up to Myles before the game and said, I'll pay the fine if you hit him with your helmet.
Big Ben does not care about Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph
he's like, dude, this
awful
guy's
this year. Like,
you know what Big Ben's doing? He's going, we're probably a 7-win team if I didn't blow my elbow out this year.
If Big Ben is healthy, there's absolutely zero chance Mason starting over him.
Could you imagine with Big Ben with because he obviously played that Patriots game with a fucked up elbow. Like his elbow was getting ready to fucking just explode. Now it makes sense, right? Because he was just missing dudes. He was just throwing the ball really wildly. It all adds up to why Big Ben had a bad start. Because the third throw of his next game, he just kind of went, and the arm just fell down.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to sum up my thoughts on the punishments.
So basically, I think the NFL fucked this up.
I was satisfied with the action that the NFL took, but I wasn't
fully. It feels like they
Yeah,
still
like-
messed up somehow. It's like you guys, you
Like-
got the Myles Garrett part right. You're gonna give him the rest of this
yes,
year
you did.
and
Yeah.
2
Like,
next
I was
year.
okay
That's
with
8
it.
games. That'll be
No,
8
I-
games that he gets. Perfect.
I was
Boom.
not perfect with what they did, but I was happy with it. I was okay with it.
He'll get half a
I'm-
season, so
I'm
that's-
not thinking, oh, the NFL screwed this up so bad. I'm just like, okay, they didn't completely screw it up. But so what I was thinking, Mason and Larry Ogunjobi, the guy that knocked him down, should each get 1 game.
Yeah.
DeCastro
Pouncey
Pouncey gets 1 to 2 for the kick and punches, and
That was
Garrett's
so
gone for the rest. Garrett's gone for the rest of the season. I thought it was
and
pretty.
probably the next 2. You got to give him 8 games. That's probably what they're
Nah.
doing, by the way. He's
I
gonna
don't
get
know.
8. They're gonna give him
I
8
know.
games.
I think that based off previous precedent, like the
He
thing
has
that Albert
zeros.
Hainsworth did, hitting a guy with his helmet, and
Well, they
stuff
just
like that.
suspended him for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
They indefinitely means they're gonna give him +1 next year, at least
Well,
plus
they're-
1
they're considering it. It said at least the rest of it. So
this year. Yeah, he's done for the year in the,
Yeah,
in the
it's
playoffs. They already said, yeah,
TBD.
he's done for the year.
But-
But next year we'll see. But
Yeah,
he's super remorseful already.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna fuck him too hard.
I think 6 games, or I think the rest of this season, playoffs or not, which is not, but I think the rest of the season is appropriate. I wouldn't like be upset if they give him more, but I personally I would give him the rest of the season. And
At the
have
end
him
of the
start.
day, he did some foul ass shit, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It like I feel like it's not as big a deal as like I know this is
Yeah.
kind of a weird take. I feel like people are really overhyping this because it's never happened before.
They are.
Nobody knows how
Albert
to react to
Hainsworth hit
this.
a guy with his helmet. It
And
wasn't like in the
Dominic
top of
Holmes-
the head, but he
And
did.
like didn't Hainsworth fuck his world up? He had to get like
Yeah.
30 stitches
Yeah.
and shit.
Hainsworth got 5 games for that, and then
Sue
it wasn't
stomped
quite
on a
the
guy's
same.
face. Like it's just like we've
Hainsworth
seen.
too.
Yeah, we've seen.
I think he got 3 for that. And,
Sue
and
got
the
like
other
a game.
The other
and you also
sort of-
got to remember, this is a bunch of big dudes hyped up on, steroids and adrenaline, and
Yeah,
it was
like,
a heat of the moment.
stupid-
The heat of the moment. We've seen him swing before. It's just like he swung, and what if he might not fully realize what he
See,
was
no,
doing at the
no,
moment?
The thing
No.
is like using. I can understand fist fighting in the heat of the moment, and that would be completely forgivable. But like using a weapon, that's fucked up. I think that's where people are like, dude, we'd have forgiven you, Myles, if you'd have just beaten the fuck out of him with your fists. But like, dude, you took his helmet off, and like that shows like you might have been thinking with like thinking a little too much there. Like you can say like I blacked out, so I punched a guy, and everybody will go, all right, man, it happens in the NFL. We all kind of get mad like that. But like you went to the level of like I'm gonna take this dude's helmet off and hit him in the fucking head with it. That to me shows like you weren't blacked out. You were like contemplating serious bodily harm, and that's I think the big problem. But I might be looking more. I think I might be attributing my own thoughts of the action, because I don't think I don't know. He might have been just blacked out and angry. He did get kicked in the ball
But
sack.
if you watch it though, like it wasn't all one motion. He didn't take the helmet off and then swing. He took the helmet off, and then like he stepped. Like there was a moment where there was like they were apart. He was already holding the helmet, and they were separated by the Steelers. I think it was a lineman, a Steelers lineman. So there was a moment of a
Rudolph
break.
charged in and like punched him in his dick again, and like I think Rudolph hit him in the balls like 2 times. So like it's
So,
not
so
like
like it was so he was like done already, and then he was charging again. It was like he didn't remember he took the helmet off and he had it. It was just like it was 2 different
that's
actions.
what
It
I'm
wasn't
thinking.
one smooth. It wasn't
it
one
almost-
smooth. Like
it
take the
does
helmet
almost-
and then hit.
Trey, that's actually a very good observation. It almost seems like when he swung his arm, it looked like he like forgot, because like he makes a weird motion to where he like swings the helmet, and you can't see his face at all because the camera has it. But like you see his like arm kind of like hesitate to go down, like, oh fuck, I got this helmet still. What do I do? What do I do? Flipping around, try and put it back on his head. That'd have been hilarious. You know how badass that would have been if he literally just would have re-put the helmet back on his head and just sent him on his way, like patted him Just get out of here,
Okay,
dude.
I got two more things real quick. So one was like that. I was going to say, I'm not excusing what he did.
No,
but,
it was terrible. Yeah,
but
he's,
It was
he's
not
getting
good.
pushed back by two Steelers, and Mason's starting to come at him. All he's thinking at that moment
I'm gonna about to
is-
get jumped. I'm
all
fucked
that,
up.
No, all that he's thinking about at that moment is I got to get one more shot in on Rudolph. He wants to hit him at that moment. He's probably not thinking he's got the helmet. He wants to get one more shot in on Rudolph before it's all over.
And then he realized, I think he was, as he's swinging it, because you can see there's his arms, like, and if I'm his team, I'm going in there and going, Goodell, look at this, dude. He realizes, I forgot I had the helmet.
Yeah, and then the other thing,
And then the Steelers the center reaction to punching and kicking Garrett was also pretty. Yeah, he after he swung the helmet and then he just kind of got jumped by the lineman. That was pretty. I understand that part too.
yeah, and the other thing I was gonna say was there's probably like a 90% chance Rudolph said something to him at the bottom of that pile. That doesn't make it any more excusable. That condemns Rudolph if something was said. And
Yeah,
I think you guys
something-
know what I am insinuating, but
Yeah.
You get ejected for
But-
saying even
yeah.
the A variation, though, now.
And-
So I doubt
and-
that.
and the thing is, Mason Rudolph was mic'd up. He was mic'd up for Thursday Night Football. So the NFL knows if something was said. And I'm guessing...
He probably didn't say anything, dude, because,
Yeah,
like, they only
I'm
find
guessing-
him.
Yeah, if they only find him, I'm guessing if he said
Can you
something.
imagine if he was like, when he's on the ground,
It
he's
was-
like, dude, get off me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if, like,
Yeah.
that's what they heard him saying? Like, get off me, Miles, please, man. Get the fuck off.
If he said something, I'm betting that it was like
Get off me.
bitch or something.
Get the fuck away
less.
from me, dude. He probably tried to big up. He probably just tried to big man Myles Garrett and realized, oh, fuck, dude. I didn't realize, like, I'm not really the man that I thought I was. What do you mean? I realized I could be killed by Myles Garrett without him barely trying. He took my own helmet from me and almost killed me with it. I'm gonna sue him.
Yes. As soon as he got hit with the helmet, he literally just walked back with his arms going, looking at her. Did you
Myles
see that?
Garrett, do you know there's athletes can get charged with assault? Like, you can't be charged for assault for fist fighting in a game. But if you use a weapon or a projectile, like if you pick up your hockey stick and you bash somebody against the face with your hockey stick, that's assault with a weapon. It's not just a hockey fight.
Rudolph's agent said that they aren't going to be pressing charge.
Oh, they decided not to? Okay.
Yeah.
They were talking shit last night, like they were going to look into pressing charges, and I'm like, what a bunch of pussies. Come on. Let it go. Just let it the fuck go, everybody. That's my takeaway. I hope this just goes away, because it's not that nobody else is going to do this. It's literally never happened in 100 years. We've seen this like
It's just
3
not
times.
as big of a deal as people. It's not as big of a deal as people make it seem, but it is a bad thing. I'm glad he got suspended for the rest of the year and all that. But people, I think, yeah, they're blowing that out of proportion. It's not going to happen again. It's not a big deal, or as big a deal as they're making it. And it's just, again, it was probably in a heat of a moment type of thing. It doesn't excuse them, but that's probably what it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm out of things to say about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much empty. I said everything I thought.
We're at an hour
We're-
50.
I'm
Yeah.
good. This is
That's
2 hours.
All right.
We're good.
Any closing remarks anyone wants to make?
Go Texans! We're gonna win our division again.
The Texans are going to not be very good.
No, if we play well the next 3 games, which is Ravens, Patriots, and then Colts, then yeah, we're going to be good. But yeah, that's the only. I'm just worried right now. But go Texans! Let's do good. Let's win division.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to add. Other than, obviously we did the MVP talks, Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. And then we did Super Bowl contender talk, and then ended it with some Myles Garrett discussion. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. we should be having another episode up next week at some point where we'll talk about so whatever really relevant is going on in the world of the NFL or in the world of sports. We kind of just made this kind of very NFL focused for this week, and yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a comment with your thoughts on some of the topics and what you think. Like thoughts on the topics, I guess.
If you like eating Texas sports, subscribe to my channel.
That's Texas Sports TV. That's his channel.
Trevor has a channel too.
Yeah, but does he post content really?
Yeah, I've posted like 2 things on it.
I was gonna say, I think I'm subscribed to your channel, but I don't think you post nothing really. But all right, so yeah, but all right, guys, thank you for listening, and have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.